In my opinion, the Anky in its current state on Path of Titans is completely and utterly broken, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. The Anodontosaurus, or as I'll be calling it for the rest of this video, the Anky, in my opinion, completely broken, hands down, right now my least favorite dino to run into on Path of Titans. Now this issue that I'm having may not be as bad on community servers where mix packing isn't allowed. My friends and I, we play on official servers, so I'm coming from that perspective where there aren't any such rules. Let me tell you, nothing is more frustrating than winning a big fight as a group of carnivores, only to have those carnies that you've just killed show back up as a mix pack with a couple Ankies now. Every time our group sees 2 or 3 of these things coming at once, we just have to pack up and server hop, because the way the game sets currently, there's no real counter to a mix pack with Ankies. Even a solo Anky can be almost impossible to kill without starving it to death or using gravity. A smart Anky player who knows how to fight can take on many mid-tiers at once, tank an onslaught from multiple Rexes, all the while dishing out brutal bone breaks and having enough stamina for some reason to outlast and chase down pretty much any apex such as a Rex. Currently, as far as I'm aware, there's no real counter or strategy to take out Ankies outside of that player making big mistakes or just trying to out DPS and face tank by having as many big dinos as possible go in at once on a single Anky. Bleed and Venom are basically useless once an Anky fortifies itself due to the current way that they're implemented. So trying to whittle them down over time with status effects isn't the most viable option as well. The only strategy I've ever had any luck with fighting an Anky is to keep them moving so you can actually build up status effects. The thing is, that strategy only works if they're solo and not playing optimally. Any Anky player with some experience will recognize that you're doing this and not let this happen, as they're aware of how these status effects work, at which point they'll stop running and stand their ground, since they know they can take away any advantage you've built up after being stopped for just a few seconds. This leaves only 2 real options when you're faced with matchups as one-sided as this. Be friendly and hope that they reciprocate, or run the hell away and hope they don't find you again. I'm of the opinion that this is not an enjoyable gameplay experience. Nothing hurts quite like fighting a mix pack with Ankies as a big group of carnivores, killing everything else, then getting bone broken to death by 5 Ankies with no way to finish the fight. I'm not a game designer, so take my suggestions with a grain of salt, but I think this Anky issue has a pretty simple fix. When fortified, allow status effect buildup as if it was standing up and standing still instead of treating it as sitting down, which currently makes it virtually impossible to build up any status effects. This would incentivize Ankies having to be more mobile during fights, as well as giving some sort of downside, fortifying, making players think twice before they hunker down in a bush for every single fight. I don't have any issue with the Anky's inherent armor or the extra defense that they get from fortifying or hunkering down. I actually really like the way that those mechanics are designed, but just like how thick skin slows you down or a balanced tail for speed lowers your turn radius, every ability needs pros and cons. Currently, the Anky is pretty much all pros, with the only con being the potential to get starved to death if you dig in for too long during a fight. Hopefully, at some point, there will be a real counter added with new dinos, new abilities, or a change in the way the Anky's abilities work. But until then, Ankies will be the go-to choice for griefers and mixed packers alike, since as it stands, I would argue they are the most overpowered dino in the game and need some sort of change in order for official servers to continue to be enjoyable to play. You want me to be like that?